Hello, friends. There are several things happening with phone companies across the United States right now that most seniors have absolutely no idea about. Not because anyone is deliberately hiding it, but because nobody sends you a letter that explains it clearly, nobody calls you to walk you through it, and the notices that do arrive are written in language that is designed for telecommunications lawyers, not for people who simply want their phone to keep working. Some of what is happening is genuinely good news that benefits seniors directly. Some of it could leave you without a working phone line exactly when you need it most, whether that is calling a family member in an emergency, reaching your doctor, or dialing 911. And one part of what I am going to cover today involves a specific set of behaviors that phone companies are now actively cracking down on, that millions of seniors are doing right now without realizing it puts their service at risk. Today I am going through all of it. Before we get into it, subscribe right now and turn on the notification bell. Phone and network rules change quietly at the carrier level, and most people only find out when their service suddenly stops working or when they have already lost money to a scam that the phone company could see coming, but that nobody warned them about. Subscribe now and let us get into everything you need to know. Let us start with the biggest change affecting seniors with home phones, because this one is already underway across the country, and the majority of people who are affected by it have no idea it is happening to them. For decades, if you had a traditional home telephone, that phone ran over what the industry calls the Public Switched Telephone Network, or PSTN. This is the copper wire infrastructure that has connected American homes to the telephone network since the early 20th century. It is the same technology, fundamentally, that has carried voice calls across this country for over 100 years. That infrastructure is being retired. The major telecommunications carriers, AT&T, Verizon, Lumen, and others, have been seeking and receiving approval from state utility commissions and the FCC to discontinue their copper-based landline services in area after area across the country. This is not a future plan. It is happening right now. AT&T has publicly stated its intention to retire its legacy copper network infrastructure. Verizon has been transitioning customers off copper in market after market, and the FCC has put policies in place that facilitate this transition rather than blocking it. What replaces the copper landline? In most cases, one of two things. Either a digital voice service that runs through your existing internet connection, similar to what the industry calls VoIP, or Voice over Internet Protocol, or a wireless home phone service that uses the cellular network rather than a wire coming into your house. Both of these alternatives give you a working phone with the same number you have had for years, but the way they work is fundamentally different from the copper landline you have been used to, and that difference creates consequences that directly affect a significant number of seniors in ways that no one has clearly explained. The most important consequence is about power. Your traditional copper landline worked during a power outage. If a storm knocked out your electricity, your old copper landline kept working because the telephone company's central office sent a small amount of electrical current through the copper wire itself to power your phone. Your handset did not need your home's electricity to function. This was not an accident or a nice feature. It was built into the original design of the telephone network because reliable emergency communication during exactly the kinds of events that knock out power was considered essential. Digital voice services and wireless home phone services do not work this way. They depend on equipment in your home, either a router, a modem, or a wireless base unit that requires your home's electricity to function. When the power goes out, that equipment goes dark. Your phone line goes with it, including your ability to call 911. For a senior who lives alone, who may have limited mobility, who may have health conditions that make an emergency more likely rather than less, losing phone service precisely during the kind of storm or outage that is most likely to create an emergency is a serious problem. And it is a problem that is affecting more American seniors every month as carriers retire copper infrastructure in area after area and transition customers to digital alternatives. The FCC has rules that are supposed to address this. Carriers are required to inform customers about backup power options when they transition them from copper to digital services. But the way these notifications typically arrive, a form letter in an envelope that looks like a bill, written in technical language about service transitions, means that a very large number of seniors who receive them do not fully understand what is changing or what they need to do about it. Here is what you need to do about it. Call your home phone provider directly. Ask them two specific questions. First, is my home phone service currently running on copper landline infrastructure, or has it already been transitioned to digital voice or internet-based service? Second, if it has been transitioned, or when it is transitioned, do I qualify for a backup battery unit that will keep my phone working during a power outage? And how do I get one? Many carriers offer backup battery units. Some provide them at no cost to customers who qualify, particularly customers who have identified themselves as having a medical need or who live in areas with frequent power outages. But in most cases, you have to ask. The carrier is not going to proactively arrange this for you without your initiating the conversation. Do not wait until your power goes out to discover that your home phone no longer works. The second consequence of the copper landline transition is one that affects a specific group of seniors who may not immediately recognize themselves in this situation, but who need to hear it. If you or someone in your household uses a medical alert device, sometimes called a personal emergency response system or a PERS device, the kind that hangs around your neck or sits on your wrist and lets you press a button to call for help if you fall or have a medical emergency, there is a very real possibility that your device is not compatible with digital voice services. The vast majority of these devices were originally designed and built to communicate over the copper telephone network. They use a specific kind of signal, called DTMF, or dual tone multi-frequency signaling, to transmit the emergency call to the monitoring center. Digital voice services and internet-based phone systems do not always handle this signal correctly. The result can be a device that appears to be working, that has a green light, that gives you a confirmation tone when you press the button, but that is not actually reaching the monitoring center because the signal is being corrupted or dropped by the digital conversion process. That is the worst possible failure mode for this kind of device. You press the button in an emergency. You hear what sounds like a successful call. Help does not come. If you have a medical alert device and your home phone service has been or is being transitioned from copper to digital, contact the company that provides your medical alert service directly, not your phone company, the medical alert company. Ask them explicitly whether your specific device model is certified as compatible with digital voice and internet-based phone services. If it is not, ask what your options are, because some companies have updated devices that work over cellular networks independently of your home phone line, which actually provides better coverage and better reliability in many situations. Do not assume your medical alert device is working correctly just because it appears to be working. Verify it with the people who are responsible for maintaining it. Now let us talk about the third area, and this is the one that involves behavior that phone companies are now actively restricting and that millions of seniors are engaged in right now without realizing it creates a problem. I'm talking about the way most seniors currently handle suspicious phone calls, and specifically about calling back numbers that appear on your phone, responding to voicemails from numbers you do not recognize, and engaging in any way with text messages that contain links or phone numbers. Phone carriers in the United States are now implementing automated systems, driven by federal regulations including the Stir and Shaken Call Authentication Framework, that allow them to identify, flag, and block traffic that is associated with known fraud patterns. These systems are getting more sophisticated every year. What that means in practical terms is that phone companies are now able to identify patterns of interaction between their customers and known fraudulent numbers, and in some cases they are taking action on those patterns in ways that affect the customer's service. But more importantly, what I want you to understand is why the behaviors themselves, responding to scam calls, calling back suspicious numbers, clicking links in texts from unknown senders, are so much more dangerous for seniors than most people realize. The FCC's most recent data indicates that seniors lose more money to phone-based fraud each year than any other age group. The losses are not small. The average loss per incident for seniors who fall victim to phone scams is measured in thousands of dollars, not hundreds. And the scams targeting seniors in 2026 are more sophisticated, more convincing, and harder to detect than anything that was circulating 5 or 10 years ago. Let me walk you through what these scams actually look like in practice right now, because understanding the specific mechanics is what protects you. The most common and most damaging scam targeting American seniors right now is called the grandparent scam, and it has evolved significantly from the version you may have heard about years ago. In the current version, a senior receives a call from someone who sounds like their grandchild, crying, scared, saying they are in trouble. They got in a car accident, they got arrested, they are hurt, they need help right now, and they are asking the grandparent not to tell anyone because they are embarrassed or because it will make the situation worse. The voice sounds real because artificial intelligence voice cloning technology is now capable of creating a convincing imitation of a specific person's voice using just a few seconds of audio. And those few seconds of audio are available for free, publicly, because most families have videos posted on social media where grandchildren and other family members speak. The scammer downloads the video. They run it through voice cloning software. They call the grandparent with a convincing imitation of the grandchild's voice. The grandparent does not hang up because why would you hang up on your grandchild who sounds genuinely scared and hurt? Then the scammer hands the phone to someone else, someone playing the role of a police officer, a lawyer, a bail bondsman, or a hospital administrator, who explains the situation and tells the grandparent what is needed. It is always cash. It is always urgent. It is always accompanied by a reason why normal channels, like the grandparent calling the parents or other family members to verify, cannot be used. You cannot call your daughter because we have not reached her yet and the situation is time sensitive. You cannot come down to the courthouse in person because of security protocols. You need to arrange payment right now. The payment method they ask for tells you everything. Zelle, Venmo, wire transfer, gift cards, where they stay on the phone while you go to the store and read them the numbers off the back. Cash sent with a courier who comes to your house. Every one of those payment methods has one thing in common. Once the money leaves, it cannot be recalled. There is no fraud reversal. There is no dispute process. The money is gone the moment you complete the transaction. The rule that protects you from this scam and from every variation of it is simple and it is absolute. No matter how convincing the call sounds, no matter how scared the voice on the other end seems, you hang up and you call a number you already know for the person they are claiming to be. If someone calls you saying they are your grandchild in trouble, you hang up and you call your grandchild's cell phone directly. If someone calls you saying they are from your bank's fraud department, you hang up and you call the number on the back of your bank card. If someone calls you saying they are from the IRS, the Social Security Administration, Medicare, or any other government agency, you hang up. Those agencies do not call you to demand immediate payment. They do not call you to tell you your benefits are being suspended. They contact you by mail. If there is a genuine issue with your taxes, your Social Security, or your Medicare, there will be a letter. There will be a process. There will be an opportunity to respond through official channels. There will not be a phone call demanding immediate action. Here is the specific number you need to remember before you say a single word to any caller you are not certain about. If you receive a call from someone claiming to be from your bank, do not call them back at whatever number they give you or that shows up in your missed calls. Call 1-800-CALL-FCC, which is 1-800-2255-322, to report fraud, or contact your bank directly using the number on the back of your card. For Social Security-related scam calls, the Inspector General's fraud hotline is 1-800-2690-271. For IRS impersonation scams, report to the Treasury Inspector General at 1-800-366-4484. For Medicare fraud, call 1-800-MEDICARE, which is 1-800-633-4227. These are the numbers to call, not the number that called you, not the number in the text message, not the number someone read to you over the phone. Always independently verify using numbers you find yourself from sources you trust. For suspicious text messages, the FTC and carriers across the country want you to forward them to 7726. That spells spam on your phone keypad. Forwarding suspicious text to 7726 is free on every major carrier and helps the carrier identify and block the number from reaching other customers. It takes 30 seconds. It could protect someone else from the scam that just targeted you. Do it as a habit every time you receive a text from a number you do not recognize that asks you to click something, call a number, or confirm any personal information. Let me spend some time now on something that is specifically changing in 2026 that most seniors have not heard about, and that is the expansion of a federal program called the Affordable Connectivity Program's successor, and the changes to the Lifeline program that provides discounted phone service for lower-income seniors. The Affordable Connectivity Program, which was providing a monthly benefit for internet and phone service to eligible low-income households, ended in 2024 when its funding ran out. Many seniors who were enrolled in that program saw their monthly phone and internet bill increase by the amount of the benefit without advance warning that was fully understood. Congress has been considering replacement programs, and as of 2026, the Lifeline program, which has been around since 1985, remains the primary federal benefit for low-income phone and internet service. Lifeline provides a monthly discount of up to $9.25 on phone or internet service for eligible customers, with higher discounts available on tribal lands. Eligibility is based on income or participation in certain federal assistance programs. If your income is at or below 135% of the federal poverty guidelines, or if you receive Medicaid, SNAP, SSI, federal public housing assistance, or certain veterans benefits, you likely qualify for the Lifeline benefit. But here's the part that most eligible seniors do not know. You have to apply for Lifeline. It does not enroll you automatically, and the application has to be renewed every year, or you get dropped from the program without notice. If you were enrolled in the Affordable Connectivity Program, and that program ended without you making alternative arrangements, you may now be paying full price for service that you could be receiving at a discount through Lifeline. Contact your phone carrier and ask specifically whether they participate in the Lifeline program and whether you might be eligible. Or go to lifelinesupport.org, which is the official enrollment portal operated by the Universal Service Administrative Company, and check your eligibility directly. This is money that is specifically set aside to help lower-income seniors afford phone service, and the single biggest reason eligible people do not receive it is that they do not know it exists or do not know they have to actively enroll. Now let me talk about something that is generating significant concern among consumer advocates in 2026, and that relates directly to the title of this video. Phone companies are implementing new restrictions, some of which are framed as fraud protection measures, and some of which are genuinely that, but some of which are also affecting the behavior of legitimate customers, including seniors, in ways that are causing real problems. The area where this is most significant right now involves prepaid phone plans and the use of multiple SIM cards or multiple phone numbers. The FCC's implementation of enhanced SIM swapping protections, which are designed to prevent the fraud scheme where a criminal convinces your carrier to transfer your phone number to a SIM card they control, has resulted in carriers tightening their verification procedures for any account change involving a SIM card. That is generally good. SIM swapping fraud has devastated seniors who use their phone number for two-factor authentication on their bank accounts, because once the criminal has your phone number on their SIM, they can receive the verification codes that your bank sends to confirm your identity, and they can use those codes to access your accounts. But the tightened procedures are also creating friction for seniors who legitimately need to get a new SIM card, whether because they got a new phone, because their SIM was damaged, or because they want to change plans. The practical guidance here is this. If you need to change your SIM card for any reason, do it in person at a carrier store with photo ID, not over the phone or online. The in-person process is more secure and less likely to hit the friction points that the new anti-fraud procedures create for remote transactions. And if your carrier contacts you about any account change that you did not initiate, do not confirm it over the phone or through a link in a text. Go to the store in person. The number of cases where criminals have convinced carriers to make account changes by pretending to be the customer, often armed with personal information purchased from data brokers, has led carriers to implement what they call port freeze or number freeze protections. Ask your carrier whether this option is available and whether you can place a freeze on your account that requires in-person verification for any number transfer or SIM change. This one step can prevent the most damaging form of phone-based account takeover fraud. Let me also address something specific about robocalls, because the situation for seniors in 2026 is both better and worse than it was several years ago, and understanding which is which helps you protect yourself. The good news is that the stir and shake and call authentication framework, which is now fully implemented across major U.S. carriers, has significantly reduced the number of certain types of robocall spoofing. Spoofing is when a caller makes their number appear to be something it is not, like making it look like the call is coming from a local number or from a government agency. The authentication framework makes it much harder to convincingly spoof calls through legitimate carrier networks. The bad news is that the most sophisticated scam operations have adapted. They are increasingly using voice-over internet protocol infrastructure that routes around the traditional carrier network, and that is harder to authenticate. They are using overseas call centers that are outside U.S. regulatory reach, and they are using artificial intelligence to make robocalls sound like real human conversations so that seniors who answer do not immediately realize they are talking to an automated system. The FCC in 2026 is actively pursuing expanded rules around AI-generated voice calls, following a ruling earlier this year that confirmed that AI-generated voices in robocalls are covered by the Telephone Consumer Protection Act and require prior express consent. But enforcement is always a step behind the technology when it comes to phone fraud, which means the behavioral protections matter more than the regulatory ones. Do not trust a number just because it looks local. Do not trust a caller just because their voice sounds real and human. Do not provide any personal information, financial information, or verification codes to any caller who reached you by calling you, regardless of who they claim to be. If a call is important and legitimate, you can verify it by calling back through a number you find independently. Let me now go through a complete set of specific actions for seniors to take, organized by situation, so that you leave this video with concrete next steps rather than just general awareness. If you have a traditional home phone service and you are not sure whether it is running on copper or digital infrastructure, call your provider today. The number is on your monthly bill. Tell them you want to understand whether your home phone service is copper-based or internet-based, and if it is internet-based or being transitioned, you want to know what happens to your phone line during a power outage and whether a backup battery unit is available. Write down what they tell you and the date you called. If you have a medical alert device, call the medical alert company directly and ask whether your device is certified compatible with digital voice and VoIP phone services. Ask them to confirm this in writing or by email so you have a record. If your device is not compatible, ask about their cellular-based options, because devices that communicate over the cellular network rather than your home phone line are not affected by the copper to digital transition and are generally more reliable in emergency situations. If you receive calls from numbers you do not recognize, do not call them back. If a voicemail is left and you want to verify whether the organization they claim to represent is genuinely trying to reach you, look up the organization's official number independently and call that number directly to ask. Never call the number that called you, and never call a number provided in a voicemail, a text message, or by a caller who reached you. If someone calls you claiming to be from your bank, the IRS, Social Security, Medicare, a utility company, a tech company, or any other organization, and asks you to take immediate action involving money or personal information, hang up. Full stop. Then call the organization directly using a number from their official website or from your account statement, never from any number the caller gave you. If you receive a text message with a link or a phone number from anyone you do not know, do not click the link and do not call the number. Forward the text to 7726 and then delete it. If you think the text might be genuine, go to the organization's official website directly and look for a way to verify the communication. If you believe you may qualify for the Lifeline program discount on your phone or internet service, go to lifelinesupport.org or call 1-800-2349-473 to check your eligibility and start the enrollment process. If you want to protect your phone number from SIM swapping fraud, go to your carrier's store in person and ask whether they offer a port freeze or number lock on your account, and if so, activate it. This prevents your number from being transferred to another carrier or another SIM without in-person verification. If you or a family member has already been the victim of a phone scam and money was lost, report it immediately to the FTC at reportfraud.ftc.gov, to your state attorney general's office, and to your bank if any bank transactions were involved. Reporting will not always recover the money, but it creates a record that law enforcement uses to identify and prosecute the people running these operations and to prevent them from victimizing other seniors. Let me close with the full picture of what every senior in America needs to know heading into the rest of 2026. The traditional copper landline network is being retired by carriers across the country. If you have a home phone, contact your provider to understand whether your service has already been or is being transitioned to a digital alternative and what that means for your phone line during a power outage. Get the backup battery unit if one is available. If you use a medical alert device, verify with your medical alert company that your specific device is compatible with digital voice services before your phone line is transitioned. The scams targeting seniors in 2026 are more sophisticated than ever, using artificial intelligence voice cloning and highly convincing social engineering to make fraudulent calls seem completely genuine. The one rule that protects you from all of them is this: hang up and call back using a number you found independently. Never take action based on a call or text that came to you. Report suspicious calls and texts. Use 7726 for suspicious texts. Use 1-800-2255322 for the FCC. Use the official hotlines for Social Security, IRS, and Medicare fraud. Place a number lock on your phone account to prevent SIM swapping, and check your eligibility for the Lifeline discount program if your phone or internet costs are a burden. Phone companies are changing the rules, the infrastructure, and the systems that your service runs on right now, whether you know about it or not. The seniors who navigate this successfully are the ones who ask the right questions before the problems arrive, not after. Share this with every senior you know who has a phone.